Hey guys, this is Ghillie Sniper 300. This is the H&K USP 45. The basic functionality, pretty standard. You've got it's a double stack 45, holds 12+1 in the mag. Basic features. Let's see, you got single double action. It's got this is a variant 1 H&K USP, which means the safety fired decock lever is on the left side of the gun, and it is a single double. Single action, hammer release, and then of course double action as well. The mag release is right here. It's ambidextrous on both sides. You can actually get it ambidextrous, or you can switch the side that's on, or get an ambidextrous selector switch. But this is ambidextrous mag release. Some people don't really like that. I don't mind it, but I'm kind of used to it. If you're used to more conventional mag releases that are kind of, in this region here, you may not like that very well. It might take you some time to get used to that. Has a pretty large slide catch and release lever. It's easy to get with your thumb. It's got pretty standard sights, as you can see. You can get night sights for these things, just like you can anything else. It seems like. But comes with, and you can get raised adjustable sights as well. Trigger guard is a little extended. I like that, except I'm used to resting my finger right there on a trigger guard. That's kind of how I learned, and they did that so you could get a heavy glove in there on the trigger. It has a rail, or accessory rail, but Doc pointed out, and I hadn't really thought about this, but that's not Picatinny, which is a problem because it doesn't have the grooves across the bottom that you would need. They've come around, and on their new H&K 45, I believe they've made it Picatinny because they've realized that they need it to be Picatinny. It's kind of dumb to have something like that that's not. And not only can you not mount things that are designed for a Picatinny accessory rail on there without making some modifications, but with the recoil of this pistol, it will slide off the front, or it'll at least slide up to here. So if you've got something that needs to be gripped back here, it's going to wind up out here, sticking out and getting powder residue all over it. It's got a lanyard loop. I don't know if that's anything spectacular. It's got a cutoff in there. A lot of modern pistols do. You can put a key up in there, take a little tool and put it up in there and keep it from firing. The way you take this down, pretty standard. Not quite as simple as something like a Glock, but you basically pull that back and hold it, push the pin from this side, and if you can get a grip on that, pull that out, slide this off the front. You got your spring guide rod and your barrel. Now these barrels, manufacturers these days, do a lot of tests with their pistols. Obviously, Glock's known for being very reliable, but H&K actually lodged. First of all, they fired through the whole assembly 30,000 plus P loads and 6,000 proof loads without any abnormal wear and tear, no failures at all. They also purposefully lodged a bullet inside that barrel and then dislodged it by firing another barrel through it, and then they fired accuracy loads. I don't remember the specs on the accuracy after that, but it held its accuracy better than you would expect after having a bullet fired through a lodged or an obstructed barrel. And in fact, the only thing that happened to the gun itself was it put a slight bulge on the barrel, and that was it. So I don't know what I'm doing there. I'm not watching what I'm doing. All right, here's a target I shot. I'm not very good with a pistol, admittedly, but I took my time, and I'll splice the video in on that. That's at 7 paces and slow firing, but for me that's really good. And I think in the video I'll say that it's a one hole. It's not a one hole. It just kind of looked like it from a distance, or as I was walking up there. It's less than an inch, widest point to widest point, or I should say center to center on the widest bullet. It's about, you know, I guess I could get my micrometer, but it's less than an inch. I believe a little bit more than 7/8 of an inch. Let's see what this says. And this is just kind of getting ballpark. That says 0.89 inches. So 89 hundredths, is that correct? Yeah, I believe so. Now, this is a larger framed pistol. Obviously, it's a double stack 45. I'm going to put some dimensions and specs from other guns up on there. Because, you know, this isn't the thinnest firearm in the world, and that can present a problem to some people. It doesn't feel bad in my hand. It actually feels pretty good. It's not as wide as a Para-Ordnance P1445, partly because it's got a polymer frame instead of a steel frame. It's really hard to narrow down a steel framed double stacked 45. Polymer frame can help produce a little bit of that recoil, maybe not noticeable, but it should help a little bit. And it definitely helps narrow that frame, or that grip up, so that it feels a lot better. So that's an important thing, you know, to consider. There's nothing wrong with polymer these days, especially in a good manufacturer. You know, you get a good high quality gun, and you're not going to have failures with that kind of stuff. I hear a lot of people talking about how it will fail. You know, I don't expect this to fail, and if it does, I fully expect H&K to go ahead and take care of that for me. But really, you know, although it's a bit heavier than some other guns, and a bit wider and longer and all that kind of stuff, it's comparable. And you know, if you compare this fully loaded to a 1911 fully loaded, this is going to be lighter because of the polymer frame. You know, I would think that the 1911 would be wider. Obviously the grip is a little bit, or I'm sorry, narrower. Obviously the grip will be a little bit narrower with the 1911. But once you measure widest point to widest point, I think this is actually thinner. That is obviously wider than a 1911. I wish I had one here side by side. But anyway, honestly, when I bought this, it was $800. And you know, I know there were other 45s out there, but when I was going to the stores, I'm seeing, you know, a SIG sitting next to this for $600 or $700 that held, I believe, 8+1, and I didn't really like the functionality of it. And on the other side of it, there's a Colt 1911 for $800, and it's 7+1, and I didn't like the functionality of it. And then next to that's a Kimber for over $1,000. And obviously I didn't like that if I didn't like the Colt for $800. So these are a little more expensive now, but what I was seeing at the time, this was the best 45 that I could get for the money. Now, there were Glock 21s back then. I just didn't know that much about Glocks, and I didn't really like Glocks. I'd never shot one, and I kind of made past judgment on the Glock before I got to know it, so to speak, and that's problematic. Now there's a lot more options out there. There's 1911 style pistols that are a lot cheaper. Springfield, you know, if you get the base model Springfield GI, I believe, and again I'll put this up there, but I believe those are $500. Taurus makes a pretty good one. Doc has one of those, and it's been impressive as far as accuracy goes. I don't know that it's as reliable as this. And so on and so forth, but you know, the point is there are options out there for cheaper guns. An H&K is going to cost you. I would say that if you're putting it up against a 1911 that's costing $800 to $1,000, I'd go with the H&K personally. Capacity isn't everything, but when you can get capacity in a frame like this, I think it can really make up for it. Other than the accessory rail, it is difficult to get your grip really high on this, and I wish this came up to just under that rail there. I wish that was something that they did, because you want to get your grip as high as you can to the axis of the recoil, you know, and my barrel, my bore axis is coming in right here, and in the fulcrum of my grip, or where the recoil is torquing this around the moment of my hand, is so much lower than it would be on a 1911 or a Glock. Glocks are really good about getting your hand up there pretty high. That's a huge problem with this gun. You know, it's a 45. It's got substantially more recoil than the 9mm. So it becomes very problematic with this frame because of the difference in your grip and the bore axis. So that's a really that's probably my biggest problem with this pistol. If it weren't for that, I would love it a lot more. And if this was Picatinny instead of just a rail, it would be basically perfect for me. So those are the problems. That's what I wanted to make sure that I discussed. So if someone were to ask me, you know, hey, do you recommend this for me to go buy? Oh, I'd probably say no, because, you know, for the money now, especially, you can get a lot better guns. I would personally go with a Glock if I were going to be, you know, purchasing a 45. I wanted to measure that. I meant to do it before. That's about 1.23. So make sure I'm zeroed there. Yep, 1.23 inches wide, just kind of in the middle of the grip. That's not too bad. So, and that's going to be your biggest problem with the grip if you're going to have a problem with it. So anyway, I guess that's that. Sorry for being a little bit haphazard about the way I went through that. I skipped around a little bit. You know, thanks for watching. Sorry I haven't been getting many videos up there lately. It's been kind of hectic, and my editor's been funny, and so they've been slow coming. But anyway, you guys have a good day. Talk to you later. But the best things about this gun are the tinnifer finish, which, you know, a lot of modern combat pistols have that. And but this thing, I haven't got a speck of rust on it, and it's been wet. It's been humid and wet and cold and dusty and all kinds of things, and doesn't have a speck of rust on it. It has very minimal wear, despite being fired a substantial amount of time. I don't fire it as much as a lot of people fire their pistols, but it's been fairly substantial. The other thing is, I've never had a factory jam in this, never once, and I've shot all kinds of different ammo in it, a lot of the cheap stuff, a few steel cases, although I try to shy away from those for obvious reasons, but never had a factory jam. I think I've had 4 hand load jams, and so I'm very happy with that. I don't think you can find a more reliable pistol than this pistol. So and that's saying a lot, because I hold the H&K in high esteem. I hold the 1911, most models, in pretty high esteem as far as reliability go. But if you want a really reliable pistol that's very rugged, as in terms of just being able to handle abuse, which this one can, but also refined slightly anyway, then this is the pistol to go with. And just one more time, just to reiterate, it would be my perfect pistol if they would bring this bore axis down and change that to a Picatinny rail. Other than that, it's perfect. So that is the final word. Later. We're just gonna shoot some, I got it zoomed in, we're gonna shoot some jugs here. That is a full metal jacket though, so I guess that's why it penetrates so deep. No expansion probably. Gonna test with the H&K USP 45.
Alright, battle buddy. Up close and personal.
Got it?
Yep.